have a few slides that I'm going to share. And really, I want to tell a story about my own personal journey and some of the lessons that I learned along the way. As a woman in technology or in the technology space, but more specifically, just a woman in business, I think these are lessons that that I hope will resonate and provide points of reflection and food for thought for all of you as you move forward. So it doesn't look like I can share my screen. I put together pretty slides.
You can
and if I can't share, can I share now?
Yeah.
It's only like 4 of them. Let me see. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just talk through them. Okay, here we go. Okay. So I'll move to presentation mode. So my name, as was mentioned, is Saidah Nash Carter. And as you can probably tell from my accent, I am American, but have moved to Cape Town. We're in our 5th year now. So in December, it'll be 6 years, which is sort of amazing to think that we've been here this long. But I moved with a large global corporate, Thomson Reuters, to head up innovation for the company across sub-Saharan Africa, and to launch their innovation lab in Cape Town. And last year, I exited the company. They were ready to strategically really pull out of Africa, and my husband and I, and our family were just getting started strategically with what we came to do and what we felt we could do here in this context. So we parted ways, and I co-founded Bright Insights Global with my business partner, who is based in New York. She's actually Kenyan, living in New York, and I'm American here in Cape Town. So we sometimes joke about how we've kind of passed each other across continents. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about a story around Sparkle. And the image that you see here is the little poster or placard that my husband and I stumbled across in a shop in the US many years ago. And when we saw it, we had a chuckle because it reminded me of a professional story that occurred a few years before. So I was 20 years in corporate America, and about the midway point, so 10 years into my career, I made a pretty significant transition into a new role. And that role was supporting who was then the CEO of the company. And so I was working for, it was a $13 billion company. I went to work for the CEO who was running a, $6 billion company business within that company at the time. And it was a very sort of new space. It was a new business. I was learning a ton, drinking from the fire hose, as you might think. You move into a new role. Even after having been with the company for so long, this was a completely different new experience. So one of the things that we did was they did something called a professional 360, which is a review of all of your of your sort of contribution, your work within the context of the team that you work with. And one of the things that so they essentially ask everyone on the team about your work, your contribution. They give you feedback. It's like a 360-degree sort of feedback assessment. And so my coach who did the assessment at the end, like all of these very senior levels. So mind you, I'm now working with the CEO. So all of my peers are like CFOs, CIOs, C-suite, and And the one word that keeps coming up in these reviews is, oh, Saidah has so much sparkle, or she has this sparkle this, sparkle that. It's a word that just kept coming up. And so as I'm reviewing this with my coach, he's like, I've never had a 360 review come back with so much use of the word sparkle in it. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that doesn't, like, sparkle, well, it sounds cool and everything. That's not the most professional word to use to describe someone. And then I had all these, and of course I'm the only, one of very few women, and definitely the only Black woman around. And so of course I immediately conjure up all these images of like the magical needle and this pejorative sort of thoughts around like what it means to be sparkly inside of a professional environment. And so it just became this kind of ongoing joke between my husband and I when I shared what came out of the feedback report. And so, but as time sort of went on, what I realized is that, it's, number one, I guess I am sparkly. And number two, it's okay to be sparkly. It's a good thing. And frankly, never let anyone make you think less of who you are or how you show up or how you present in the world. And that was a major lesson for me at the time. And it kind of has carried through. So as I've seen, when we saw this, we bought the little placard immediately. And I'll show you later where that is now in our home. But I wanted that to be the foundation of the point that I wanted to share today. So my lesson was then sort of own your sparkle and also own your journey, and whatever that word is that describes who you are, whatever that word is that resonates with you, or that people sort of have gifted to you and you decided you want to take it on, own it and be authentic with it, and obviously own your path. And so these are some of the things that have been really sort of core to how I've thought about my career over the years. The first one, frankly, is to follow your curiosity. For me, intellectual stimulation and engagement is absolutely key. Being willing to take risks. I mean, it was a big risk for us to move to this country, halfway across the world. There's also a, with women in particular, we will often not take risks, or we will assume that if we're looking at a job description, if we have 8 out of the 10 qualifications, or even 5 out of 10 qualifications, we won't apply. Whereas with men, if they have the same number, they will. So take the risk, bet on yourself. Always to squad up, I say, know who's on your team. Create a personal advisory board, people who support you, who know you, and then also be reciprocal in your approach. Support them as they support you. Know your worth, get your money. We know that there are massive gaps around pay and equity. So do often ask for more than what you think you're worth. Chances are you'll probably land somewhere closer to what everyone else is getting paid anyway. And then know what you stand for. Know what matters to you. Know what your non-negotiables are. I know it's hard when you're starting out in your career to stand on so many principles, but have some core ones and stand on those, and you'll go, I think, a lot farther, faster, and be happier in your work as a result of that. So I know I felt like I heard a little bit of a bell going there, but this is where this poster is now. And you guys probably saw my daughter as she came in. This is the art wall in her bedroom. And from that one moment where I was sort of raising my eyebrow at this reference to being sparkly in a professional context, through to a message that is very important to my 6-year-old who loves all things sparkly. So to never
let anyone dull your sparkle.
And we didn't even plan that. That was pretty perfect. Yeah, never let anyone dull your sparkle.